are talking about your next move, but we've seen Gilberto Ramirez is now injured. So we've seen suggestions of this next IBF mandatory. But I tell you what, we've also seen Eddie Hearn say you're moving up to heavyweight. So he's put a spanner in the works. So can you clarify what is your intention or what could it be next?
Man, I've had this goal in my head of becoming undisputed cruiserweight for a long time, you know, and I'm chasing undisputed, you know, and I'm chasing undisputed, you know, and the only person I'd probably go up to heavyweight for is a world title fight or fighting Usyk, you know, they're the only fights that I'd go up to heavyweight, you know what I mean? I want to become undisputed, and once I become undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world, then I want to go up to heavyweight. But you know, I'm not going to let these guys rush me into doing things. You know, I've still got a lot of time. Yeah, man, I'm just keen. The fact that I'm getting pressured to fight anyone else but a man that like a unification fight just blows my mind. You know what I mean? I'm getting call-outs left, right, and centre. You know, people saying they want to fight me, and then I'm getting pressured to fight them, which, you know, I respect the hunger, you know what I mean? I've been one of them guys, you know, but the fact that I'm getting, you know, spoke about, or people are speaking about me fighting anyone else but one of these other champions blows my mind, you know what I mean? Everyone in the boxing world that wants to see me fight should be wanting to see me fight against another champion.
And those are the words of Jai Opetaia in his recent interview on Boxing King Media. Shout out to them for getting the interview. And you heard Jai Opetaia, and he put emphasis on anybody that wants me to fight at heavyweight, and it's not for a title, and you don't want me to fight someone in my weight class, pretty much is out of line. It blows my mind, like he said, right? And my counterpunch to that is, I look at Jai Opetaia as a guy that's been chasing something for a while, and he's not trying to hear the risk or the forceful chance of taking on someone at heavyweight just because. If he's going to go to heavyweight, he's going to go there for a reason. And that totally puts the idea of Jai Opetaia versus Derek Chisora right out of the window. So this also tells you something else. Jai Opetaia, these are his words. His team has said that, hey, he'll fight Derek Chisora. If it does happen, it materializes, he'll get hurt. You guys know what they said. That was a post that was a couple of days ago, or even yesterday, was it? You know, and I say this, it's a difference on the mindset of boxers versus the trainers or the team. And it's always important for any boxer to know exactly what's going on with their team. Because if they don't know what's happening with their team could be putting them into something that they didn't even agree on, neither do they agree with. And I think this may be a situation because Eddie has mentioned the Derek Chisora fight. People on Jai Opetaia's team has mentioned him going to fight Derek Chisora, and other fighters like Moses Atoma and guys like that. Like, hey, let's see where he is and how good of a heavyweight he is. Where you just heard Jai Opetaia like, well, wait a minute. Hold on a second. I've been waiting for Zerto or Jack or any unification in the cruiserweight division first before going to heavyweight. That's been my position. That's been always my goal, to do exactly that. Not this shit you guys are talking about. You guys are talking about something that I may do or whatever, but then the more you talk about it, it's like the more, I guess, people are trying to see maybe that where and what they people feel about Jai coming to heavyweight, which I think people would love the idea of Jai going to heavyweight, but there is a process. And understand this, if you're or he, Jai Opetaia, is going to model himself after the greats, Usyk, Holyfield, those guys that actually went from cruiserweight to heavyweight, it took steps to get there. They just weren't fighting at cruiserweight and then decided one day, let me go to heavyweight. No, things had to be complete first before moving the hell up there. And there's no exception or no difference from Jai Opetaia. You see what I'm saying? So I understand what he's saying, and I do. That's what I like about Jai, because Jai is no jive. He's not going to sit here and let Eddie or let someone on his team spill a narrative that's not entirely true. Okay, because we just heard him say, well, dude, that blows my mind if you guys are not, you guys just want me to go to heavyweight to just fight a hard fight without the championship attached to it, without the reward. Sure, the risk is there, but the reward is not there either. So there it is. You know, and again, I'm glad that these guys are able to speak for themselves, because if you let your promoter or your team speak for you, hell, they'll be speaking you into fights that you didn't even agree to, nor do you know anything about. And obviously that shows right here as a perfect example. You know, now I will say this, though. I will say this. Not saying this is going to happen, not saying that I want it to happen. I want Jai Opetaia, though, to be aware of what could happen. And what could happen is Eddie Hearn is an ambitious guy. And I think he sees the hunger and he's seeing the eagerness and the desire from Jai Opetaia. Well, what could happen, though, is if Eddie and Jai fall out, or Jai like this, I want to stay at cruiserweight, but then Eddie's talking this heavyweight stuff, it could be a problem, because we've seen it before. And we've seen it before with non-British fighters with Eddie. One thing about Eddie, Eddie's loyal to the British. Jai Opetaia's not British. I mean, I don't know if you would consider Australian British, you know? I don't know. You guys could tell me that, but he's not from Great Britain, right? So he may have a disadvantage because Eddie is very less tolerant for people outside the British realm. You know what I mean? In other words, I don't want Jai Opetaia to end up like Michael fucking Hunter. You know what I'm saying? And that, we all know how that went. And then it was bad. Even though Hunter has came on the channel and said, hey, I do respect and, you know, and look back, and Eddie did do a good job and this, that, and the other, and things I could have done different and all that. But, you know, it does show you Eddie, though, will get pissed off. I think he will, you know, get a bit cranky at times, and he will, you know, pretty much shut down on you. And when that happens, you don't want that to occur, because then Eddie will stop pushing for you, you know. So, you know, and this is something that Turkey Al-Sheikh wanted from Jai Opetaia. So if he pisses Turkey off as well, not only if you're saying something contrary to what Eddie wants, or Turkey, you know, as well, you know, you're maybe turning your back on an opportunity that you may need to, you know, choose one day, and that may be a problem. But we'll see. You guys tell me what you think of that portion of that interview concerning Jai Opetaia. He does not plan to go to heavyweight to fight anybody but a champion or Usyk. Of course, please subscribe, and you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.